Wang Yang. Look at the order you made. Pratt and Whitney has already terminated the contract with us. Do you know how much the company lost? I don't even know how your kind of trash has a face to stay in the company. I've reported your salary to the finance department, and it will all be used as a fine. A fat man with a big belly spat at Wang Yang. Wang Yang wiped the saliva stars on his face, lowered his head and did not dare to speak. If your performance is not up to the standard this month, you will get rid of Lao Zi at the end of the month. The fat manager looked at Wang Yang contemptuously, and left with angrily. Sitting on the desk, Wang Yang sighed. Originally, the market was not good. In the big city of Qingcheng, he lived on the basic salary of 3,000 yuan. Now that the basic salary is gone, Wang Yang is even more sad when he thinks of the fierce landlord. What's more, this time the list was clearly made by Li Yuan, not because he was the vice president's brother-in-law, and the fat manager put the scapegoat on his back. Suddenly, Wang Yang posted a news item of particular concern on his mobile phone. His pupils were tightly locked, and apart from Miao Yuking, he never set any other special concerns. The PhD study is finally over, and I look forward to returning to China next month. In the picture below, she is wearing a doctor's uniform with a smile on her face. Wang Yang swallowed. Miao Yuking was the goddess he had crushed in college for many years, and the white moonlight in his heart. He worked so hard that he wanted to go after her with his chest raised up, but now he can't even afford to eat and lose his job. This time he might still be living on the street. What to do to meet his goddess? No money, no power, it's hard to live, let alone love. Ding, congratulations on getting the enjoyment system. What the hell? System? Isn't that something that is only in the novel? Wang Yang shook his head. He only felt that he was driven into an illusion by the predicament in front of him. He didn't think he would become the protagonist. The gift package for the first binding system has arrived, a set of Xiaoao Hutong Courtyard House, with the artificial intelligence butler. The key has been put in your pocket. Wang Yang's pocket sank, and a bunch of keys were already lying quietly in it. He took out the key with trembling hands, and he clearly remembered that his pocket was absolutely empty before. A virtual light curtain slowly appeared in front of Wang Yang. This picture full of futuristic sci-fi style made him realize that he might really get the system. Wang Yang looked around nervously and found that no one could see the light curtain in front of him. On the contrary, Li Yuan smiled at him disdainfully, which made Wang Yang's heart surge. He pressed on again. First look at the function of the system, this is the most important thing. View Saihewan expansion of Saihewan decoration modification. Wang Yang clicked to check the courtyard, only to see a courtyard with a large area in front of him. A lush ginkgo tree is in the middle of the yard, with rockery and flowing water, and even a flower bed. There is actually a modern swimming pool in this kind of place with little land and little money. Perfect. Wang Yang wanted to pop English out of his mouth, and he had been surrendering for so many years. Whether it's very tailet, with the system, I can be regarded as completely turned over. What kind of rent, what kind of basic salary, with this courtyard, I will be the upper class figure in Qingcheng every minute. Wang Yang, what's silly? Hey, I blamed me for being bad this time. If you didn't watch you, how could you lose such important information? Looking at Wang Yang's cheerful expression, Li Yuan felt unhappy for a while. I'm so happy that I've carried a scapegoat for myself, but I don't know how much advantage he has taken. When Wang Yang heard Li Yuan's rejoicing in misfortune, his anger flooded his mind. If the system hadn't fallen from heaven, he would be a complete joke now. The discerning people in the company know what's going on. It's just that they have little qualifications and no background, and they have become a poor worm. Wang Yang couldn't imagine that after he had no salary, he had no money to eat and was driven to rent out his house. Li Yuan, don't be hypocritical like Lao Tzu, I feel sick when I see you. Wang Yang didn't plan to leave Li Yuan a trace of face. It would be enough for him to rent out one of such a large courtyard house, and he still cares about this broken job. Wang Yang, dare you trash talk to me like this? Li Yuan tremblingly pointed at Wang Yang. He had never suffered such aggrievedness in the company. What's more, Wang Yang, who has the lowest status in the entire company, is usually the only promise. Li Yuan gritted his teeth while feeling the fiery eyes of others. His face was lost at the moment. If you don't get a makeup from Wang Yang, you can't mix in the company at all. Not only will I talk to you like this, but I will call you stupid. Wang Yang looked at Li Yuan's small body, and was not afraid of his counterattack at all. He didn't plan to stay in the company anymore, and he just wanted to vent his anger. I think you just want to be beaten. Li Yuan slapped it up. He expected that Wang Yang would not dare to resist, otherwise he would not only lose his job, but also have to enter the game. The mayor of Mon district in Qingcheng is his uncle. Snapped. There was a crisp applause. Everyone stared blankly at Wang Yang rounding his arms, and slapped Li Yuan to the ground with a slap. Without your brother-in-law, you are a rubbish, of course, now you are not even in my eyes, just a fart. Wang Yang looked down at Li Yuan and said, his palm was still aching, but he was completely relieved. Li Yuan was even more miserable. Half of his face had been swollen into a pig's head, and he said in anger with fear, you have a kind, don't run, wait for me. Wang Yang didn't bother to pay attention to him, and kicked up again, kicking Li Yuan into his stomach and groaning. Wang Yang, do you want to rebel? As the cold wind hit behind him, Wang Yang lowered his head, and a fist flashed across his forehead. The fat manager was out of breath with just this punch, and Wang Yang slammed his greasy bald head down. With a bang, the fat manager clutched Wu Qing's forehead and sat on the ground. All the colleagues were sluggish, and they realized how stalwart Wang Yang was when he straightened his waist. Expelled. Not only will I be expelled, I have to call the police now, you just wait to go to jail. The fat manager clutched his forehead in pain, took out his mobile phone from his pocket, and yelled stubbornly. Call the police? You report it. Wang Yang looked at the fat manager playfully. Do you think I don't know what you did with the vice president? Wang Yang's words made the fat manager and Li Yuan stare. They thought they were doing it secretly. In fact, the employees at the bottom of the company knew it, but they all swept their doors and didn't want to provoke them. Also, how did I lose all of my information? Whose hands are it now? Wang Yang's questions one after another caused the two to have a cold sweat. If these things shake off, they will also go to jail with them. Do you think Lao Tzu is a trademark fool? It's blooming when I give you a face, shamelessly. Wang Yang shouted at the two in an explosive manner, the last trace of depression in his heart finally vomited out. Puff puff. Wang Yang lit a cigarette, and a puff of smoke hit the fat manager's face. I like God-level system, Invincible starts with a courtyard house. Please collect it, God-level system, Invincible starts from a courtyard house, and the literature updates are the fastest. This month's salary is in my card on time. If you can't see the money, you two will just wait for your prison meal. Wang Yang's smile was so hideous in the eyes of the two of them, and they nodded quickly. No matter what the price is paid, let the plague go away first. Wang Yang directly took a taxi to Xiaoao Hutong. That place is the central area of Qingcheng, and the location is much better than those of the so-called high-end residential areas, such as villas. After all, most of the Hutong courtyards here are owned by the public, and they didn't have to buy them if they wanted to. Wang Yang got out of the car and looked at them one by one according to the school number. When he arrived at the gate of a courtyard, Wang Yang was stunned. Even if he didn't look at the door number, he clearly knew that this was definitely his house. The vermilion gate and the majestic stone lion in the townhouse all herald its grandeur and dignity. Xiaoao Hutong is a signboard of Qingcheng. When Wang Yang first came, he didn't change much. At that time, there was no such gate. As expected, the father of the system was able to remodel such a courtyard house without a word. The procedures for the courtyard house have been sorted out, please rest assured the host. The system seemed to perceive the confusion and doubts in Wang Yang's heart, bubbling back rare, and explained. That's good, that's good. Wang Yang smiled silly. From a clan of Qingpiao to a house owner, it is still a courtyard house, comparable to a carp leaping over a dragon gate. The tourists passing by saw the silly Wang Yang, chuckled, and looked in front of him again. Wow, this courtyard house looks different from those dilapidated gates. A girl exclaimed, and the door produced by the system could attract people's eyes at a glance. This should be someone else's private house. It has been repaired, but I don't know who is so rich, and this yard can't be obtained by just having money. The boyfriend next to the girl looked at the courtyard enviously, and he would be content if he could mix in a room outside the third ring in his life. Wang Yang heard the admiration behind him, and a sense of satisfaction rose in his heart. He took out a bunch of keys from his pocket and walked straight to the door. Haha, husband, don't he want to use his key to open the door? The girl smiled. Daydreaming, I guess he's just showing off his brain. The girl's boyfriend didn't finish her words, she watched Wang Yang open the door and walk in. Bang! The door was closed again, and the two wiped their eyes and stared at the courtyard. Did someone go in just now? The boy hurriedly pulled the girl away in grief. In case the person heard his words just now, it would take minutes to clean him up with this kind of wealth. Wang Yang walked into the courtyard and his vision widened. A tree-lined path full of flowers, next to a small lake, swimming in various carps. This trademark is obviously the prince's mansion. Wang Yang crossed the path, the huge courtyard was so fascinated, he had no choice but to call out the system and walk out according to the light curtain above. Ding! Your housekeeper Xiaoling greets the master. As soon as Wang Yang entered the room, he was startled by the sound and smiled in a jealousy. Hello there! My eyelids were too shallow, and I was shocked to see anything. Master, please give your orders to Xiaoling. Wang Yang scratched his head. If this is a physical character, he. A bold idea floated up in his heart, and was extinguished by him. Liujin Sai Heiwen Construction Level 1 Owner, Wang Yang Tenant, 0/16 Decoration Level 1 Expansion, 0 Wang Yang's site shifted below, and there were two more options here. Lucky Draw, every time a new tenant enters, you will get a chance to draw a lottery. Every time you complete a tenant's wish, you can get a chance to draw a lottery at the corresponding level based on the comprehensive evaluation of difficulty and completion. Fuck, it has everything, Wang Yang couldn't help but think about it, then give himself the whole star worship or something. After handing over to the country, it is not about punching the United States and stepping on the United Nations. Benefits, the rent price is determined by the owner, and the rent earned is doubled. When Wang Yang saw this line of words, he was really passionate about the lottery. He didn't know if he hadn't touched it, but the white silver was really solid. According to the location, environment, and decoration of his courtyard house, he felt that 50,000 a month was a conscience price, doubled to 100,000. If the 16 tenants are full, it will cost 1.6 million to lie down and stay at home for a month. Compared to Jack Ma, I am nothing, but if compared to my previous life, it would be a far cry. Expansion cost, the first expansion is 10 million, the second is doubled, and so on. Wang Yang accepted this, it was simply a price of conscience, and he had a deeper understanding of the magical powers of the system. This is Xiao Hutong. It would be nice to have a courtyard house, and it can be expanded. Wang Yang doesn't think anyone in the country can do this kind of formalities, not even twisting. Decoration modification, different building decorations can be changed at different prices, and various styles can be switched at will, giving tenants the ultimate experience. If you have money together, one day idyllic style, one day European style palace style, it seems that the whole science fiction style is also so easy. Facilities addition, various super facilities can be added at will, and 5 infrastructure facilities can be added at present. However, the numbers behind these infrastructures made Wang Yang disinterested. He now has a hard time getting 100 yuan all over his body. If these are not useful, he has to bring people in. He has long envied this kind of landlord's life. There is a Qingcheng local demolition household in the company. Good fellow, there are more than a dozen houses per cent, and it's not even compensation. He directly mentioned a domineering one. Every day he went to work to drink tea and read the newspaper. The leaders of the company had to treat him respectfully. There is no way. People in that circle are all demolished households, and there is nothing, that is, there is a lot of money and a lot of houses, and it is enough to just miss some. Wang Yang sat on the rocking chair in the yard, closed his eyes, and let the breeze blow on his face. Now I am considered a charter company, and it is no problem to live a retirement life in advance. Grunt. When his stomach screamed, Wang Yang realized that he hadn't eaten lunch yet, and he was full of anger by those two stupid BS. Meituan ordered a takeaway, and it didn't take long for me to call in. It's pretty fast. Hey, sir, are you sure that the address you marked is number 9 Xiaoao Hutong? The delivery clerk on the other end of the phone asked questioningly. When he first received the order, he thought his eyes were dazzling. Isn't this pure and funny? Who doesn't know that Xiaoao Hutong does not live in people? Yes, I just live here, you just need to call me. Wang Yang said, he didn't know that he was already a liar in the heart of the takeaway. I like God-level system, Invincible starts with a courtyard house. Please collect it, God-level system, Invincible starts from a courtyard house, and the literature updates are the fastest. I ran into a fool who wanted me to deliver food to Xiaoao Hutong, saying that number 9 yard was his home. The takeaway received the meal and spoke in the group. Court number 9? Isn't that the prince's mansion? It looks like it is broken, not to mention Xiaoao Hutong is the land of the public. Everyone in the group talked about the strange things they had encountered, and the building got crooked. Hello, I have arrived at number 9 courtyard of Xiaoao Hutong, please come out and get it. A smile appeared on the face of the takeaway. Either this guy was hiding nearby, or he was just playing around. In any case, his order fee was earned. Then Wang Yang personally opened the door, looked at the sluggish takeaway, and accepted the takeaway. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. The takeaway looked at the closed door, and then at the empty hand. It turned out to be a real resident. I delivered it. Well, is there someone nearby? I guess it's a tourist. He came out of it. Fogweed. The group exploded. Wang Yang didn't know the surprise here, even if he knew it, he didn't care. Regardless of where he took this matter, the book and the procedures in his hand were all true and effective. But it's just that eating takeout is not worthy of the courtyard house. When I get rich, I will be the entire chef and cook for myself. After ordering this takeaway, I have more than 70 yuan left, and I will have to wait a week for my salary to be paid. Saying that you have got the system, why are you so hard? Wang Yang gave a brief introduction to the house information, took a few pictures and posted them on the renting website. The base price was 50,000 yuan. Looking at the rental prices above, Wang Yang feels that he has been lowered. What mansion, villa, how can he have his own single-family courtyard house? An apartment in the Magic City dared to have 4 to 5 million yuan a month, and his quadrangle was the only one in the entire Qingcheng. Before Wang Yang finished eating, the phone rang. He already seemed to see the white money flying towards him, but his bid was to bet 1 for 1, double that was 200,000. At first glance, the name above is Aunt. Auntie, what's up? Yangzi, didn't you work in Qingcheng? Your sister was admitted to Qingcheng University this time. She said she went to work in summer vacation in advance to get familiar with the environment. Wang Yang immediately understood that this was an uneasy cousin, and he responded quickly. It's okay, aunt, I'll pick up Lanlan then, don't worry. Well, if you take care of me, I feel more relieved. I'll transfer some money to you later. No, aunt, I opened the bill this month, and the salary will be paid right away. There is a small 10,000. Wang Yang quickly refused, but he had hung up over there, and received a transfer of 5,000 yuan on his mobile phone. He pursed his lips. Since childhood, his parents have been gone because of the mine disaster, so he has been living at his aunt's house. That is to say, he moved out only after he could earn money in college, and his aunt was like a real mother in his eyes. There is also a simple and honest uncle. Although he is not talkative, he has never complained about Wang Yang's tuition and living expenses. For this reason, he even quit smoking and drinking to save money. The love he owed to his aunt's family would last a lifetime. The two of them were still working in the factory when they were old, and the 5,000 yuan was hard-earned money. Wang Yang clenched his fist. It's hard to explain the Sai Heiwen thing to the aunt's family now. Only in the future he can make something of his own business and let them accept it logically. As for Lan Lan, that stupid girl would believe whatever she said, so she was fooled. Jingling bell, said Lanlan, and Lanlan called. Hey Lanlan, when will it arrive? Brother, I will be at the train station in an hour. Oh, this girl moved too fast, I guess it was a temporary decision made by herself when she came to Qingcheng. Okay, I will pick you up now. Wang Yang flashed a smirk. Sister Kang had to get her to help move the things in her rented house as soon as possible. He grabbed a few bites of rice at random, Lan Lan came, and specified to treat her to a good meal, and kept her belly, which was regarded as a treat to treat herself. As for the 5,000 yuan, he will be able to earn more in a short time, and then call his aunt back. After taking an express train, Qingcheng driver Neng Chao is well known throughout the country. Little brother, just come to Qingcheng, Xiao Ao Hutong doesn't have much to go around, they are all broken courtyards, and you can't get in. No, I live in it. Wang Yang talked to death with just one sentence. I have seen one that can blow, and the driver has never seen one that can blow. The co-author thought that he was a relative of the emperor, living there, and now it is a society under the rule of law, even the relatives of the emperor have no such skills. Wang Yang knew that others would not believe what he said, but he was telling the truth. He did indeed live inside, and it was still the most famous prince's mansion. The car fell silent and soon reached the train station. After waiting for a while, Wang Yang saw two shadows in the crowd. Lan Lan was dressed in a white skirt, as pure and lovely as a white lotus. Wang Yang hasn't seen her in a few years, and the little girl who used to have a runny nose stuck behind her has become a big girl. The girl next to her has a white tee upper body and jeans on her lower body. Her rugged figure is full of extravagance. Why does her sister know such a friend? Brother. Lan Lan stepped forward and gave Wang Yang a hug. She was bullied when she was a child because Wang Yang took the lead. The feelings of the two brothers and sisters are just like brothers and sisters. This is my classmate, Yang Shuet. Lan Lan introduced the girl around him, too, because of her sister's courage, she didn't dare to travel this far by train alone, and her aunt would not allow it. Brother! There was another clear shout, and Yang Shui was shouting at a young man. The young man is tall and handsome, and a suit is expensive. Wang Yang is a salesperson in the company, and he still has the ability to observe people. Hello, this is Yang Shui's brother Yang Zheng. Yang Zheng and Wang Yang shook hands, the contrast between the two was obvious. Wang Yang was dressed in cheap clothes, matched with the skin that had stayed up all night, and stood with Yang Zheng, just like the son and the attendant. I don't know if brother Wang drove, if not, I will send you a ride without any delay. Yang Zheng said with a smile, he was still polite, and Wang Yang didn't look like a car in any way. Lanlan, let's go together, I still seem to talk to you for a while. Yang Shui's mind was quick, and she acted like a baby with excuses, so she wouldn't embarrass Wang Yang and Lan Lan. I like God-level system, Invincible starts with a courtyard house. Please collect it, God-level system, Invincible starts from a courtyard house, and the literature updates are the fastest. Wang Yang nodded casually, he didn't care about it. It's not bad to be able to lie down on the car for nothing. The most important thing is that with the system, his mind is no longer the same as before. In the past, he just took Lan Lan to take a taxi, and his humble self-esteem would not allow him to ride in the car of his sister, classmate, and brother. Now that the courtyard house worth hundreds of millions is put there, no one has the confidence to put it there. No one dares to look down on the old man's vest sandals in Chengdu's sales department. People buy a house on a metric basis. Yes, the house is not measured in square meters, it is just how many kilograms of bills. The four of them got into Yang Zheng's 5th Series BMW. After Lan Lan got in the car, he was a little more cautious. No matter how naive she is, she also knows that the price of BMW is not cheap. Wang Yang looked at it, and the more a man who couldn't afford a car, the better he knew about the car. This car is a top-off T-line model, and it is estimated that it will cost 600,000 yuan to land. It seems that Lan Lan's classmate has a lot of family. Where to go? Guanlin Community. The car quickly drove to the Guanlin Community, which was an old-fashioned community. The noisy and run-down environment made Yang Shui frowned. She thought it was better to take Lan Lan to live in her own home, but she was afraid of hurting Lan Lan's self-esteem. As soon as she got out of the car, a fat lady walked over and saw Wang Yang's disgusting eyes. Wang Yang, if you don't pay the rent this month, I will throw out the things in your house. I am here to move. Wang Yang choked the fat lady back with a word, muttered a few words angrily and left. She was anxious for Wang Yang to move, so even if he breached the contract, the deposit would not be refunded. Brother, are you moving? Lan Lan asked blankly, she thought she was going to live here. She never expected that she would help her move when she got off the train. The urban routines were deep, and she wanted to go back to the countryside. My brother and I will help you move together. Yang Shui pulled Yang Zheng, and Yang Zheng smiled bitterly. This is really his sister, Brother Kang didn't hesitate at all. Yang Shui looked at Wang Yang dissatisfied. In her opinion, Wang Yang was really incompetent. Lan Lan is such a fragile girl, and she actually has to help move her house. Simply, I didn't take much. All the furniture and electrical appliances in the courtyard were complete. It was nothing more than clothes and personal items. Have you found a house? No, I'll open a hotel for you first. It's so late and the room is not easy to clean. Yang Zheng said. It's okay, go to Xiaoao Hutong. Wang Yang waved his hand and said. Xiaoao Hutong? Both Yang Shui and Yang Zheng were completely dumbfounded. They moved to Xiaoao Hutong, do they sleep on the street? Yang Zheng didn't bother to say it either. He was just looking at Yang Shui's face and being polite, so the other party didn't appreciate it. Yang Shui clenched Lan Lan's hand tightly. Her brother was too unreliable. She had already made up her mind to take Lan Lan to her home anyway. She couldn't suffer the crime with her nervous brother. The car drove into Xiaoao Hutong, and Wang Yang commanded it as if he had entered his own home. Yes, it's this number 9 courtyard, stop here, two of you come in and sit down. Wang Yang got out of the car and invited. Yang Zheng was full of black lines, and looked at his sister in confusion. Are you sure that your classmate's brother is in good spirits? Lan Lan got out of the car in a daze, this is her brother's home? Don't you just go out to work and have a problem with your brain? No matter how naive she was, she knew that the courtyard in front of her was not something ordinary people could live in. Yang Shui took Lan Lan and said coldly, go by yourself, Lan Lan will stay at my house tonight. She can no longer communicate with Wang Yang, and the brain circuits of the two people are completely different from the same root. Wang Yang smiled, and he knew they wouldn't believe it. Wang Yang took out the key from his pocket and opened the door in the eyes of the three of them looking at the fool. Are you sure not to go in and sit down? Yang Shui's eyes widened and looked at this scene in disbelief. Is she crazy, or is the whole world crazy? Wow, brother, you are amazing. Lan Lan reacted, pulling Yang Shui into the courtyard, and Yang Zheng also followed when he saw it. The awkward atmosphere was broken. As soon as they entered the yard, the three of them all exclaimed. In Qingcheng, a place with little land and a lot of money, in such a central area, having such a large yard is just like dreaming. Yang Zheng slapped his mouth. He really didn't expect that Wang Yang, who looked so humble, was actually a hidden boss behind his back. People of his class have a better understanding of the true meaning of this courtyard. It's not just money, it's just this heavenly relationship that he couldn't imagine. After crossing the garden and lake, after crossing the path, it suddenly became clear, a clear swimming pool, towering ginkgo trees, rocking chairs with stone tables, and romantic swings, like a fairyland in a fairy tale, with the fragrance of birds and flowers. The combination of historical precipitation and modern civilization shocked everyone's mood. Even Wang Yang was shocked. Every time he came in, he felt a different mood. The red sandalwood furniture is placed in the lobby, and the Nanmu pillars exude a delicate fragrance. The price of these furniture alone is tens of millions. Wang Yang didn't understand, but Yang Zheng did, and he raised Wang Yang's importance level infinitely. Lanlan, go and choose a room to live in. The innermost one is mine, and the rest is yours. Wang Yang commanded at will. Of course his own home came as he pleased. Really? Thank you, brother. Lan Lan screamed, and excitedly pulled Yang Shui to stir up the room. The style of each room is different, enough for the two of them to be dazzling. With the exclamation of exclamation, Wang Yang also had a smile on his face, enjoying the life system. It was really enjoyable. If I didn't get the system, I really had to pull Lanlan to sleep on the street. How could I have such a joyful mood? Congratulations to the host for successfully renting a room, please pay the rent. It seemed that Lanlan had chosen the room, but Wang Yang didn't expect the rent, and his sister was considered a tenant from the system's point of view. When Wang Yang lost the price of 5,000, it was nothing more than a left hand to a right hand, and he had an extra 5,000. He even thought of setting a price of 50 million yuan for his sister's rent. A room is 100 million yuan a month. Host, the bottom line of pricing cannot exceed a 30% increase in real value. Come on, my daydream has been dispelled, and it is impossible for this kind of loophole to come out after thinking about it. As the 5,000 in his card was swiped away and turned back to 10,000, the sound of the system rang again. Congratulations to the host for winning a lucky draw. I like God-level system. Invincible starts with a courtyard house. Please collect it. God-level system, Invincible starts from a courtyard house, and the literature updates are the fastest. Lottery? Wang Yang was not in a hurry to draw, anyway, the chance to draw the lottery would not be lost. At the very least, I have to send away the guests in front of me. After Yang Zheng came in, he was a little more cautious. Wang Yang's family was inferior to that of their Du family, not to mention that it seemed that it was only his own asset. But the strangest thing about him was that he had heard his sister say that this Wang Lanlan's home was quite ordinary, and Wang Yang couldn't pay the rent before. How could he have such a courtyard house? Yang Zheng really couldn't figure it out. The quirks of rich people are so much that he doesn't want to think about it anymore. They can't buy it with such a big yard here. Lan Lan chose the room, and repeatedly pulled Yang Shui to let her stay with her. Yang Shui was also moved, but she still shook her head. She had just returned to Qingcheng, and she was definitely going home. Then Yang Shui, you're all right, you must come and play with me. Lan Lan said reluctantly. Okay, your brother's courtyard house is much more beautiful than our villa. Yang Shui smiled and nodded. Since Lan Lan's brother is so rich, she didn't hide it from Lan Lan. After all, Wang Yang's courtyard house is enough to buy 4 or 5 villas in her house. Yang Shui curiously glanced at Wang Yang, who was wearing a fascinating coat. She was obviously a in terms of temperament and talk, but the family background was so deep. He lived in a rental room before, which made people unable to see through. After seeing Yang Shui off, Lan Lan jumped into Wang Yang's arms quickly. Brother, tell me honestly, where did you make this yard? Don't do things that violate the law and discipline. Wang Yang gave Lan Lan a hug, and put her down again. The original Xiaoduding had grown up and was no longer suitable for transgression. You move your little head, what I do illegally, can I build such a yard, you think all officials are fools? Wang Yang nodded Lan Lan's little head, and the latter touched his forehead and complained. Brother, I'm 18, can you not treat me like a child, I just want you to be stupid. Don't worry, you don't know who your brother is. This yard is my legal income, but don't tell aunt and uncle about this. My business hasn't stabilized yet. When it stabilizes, I will pick them up together. Live. Wang Yang casually perfunctory Lan Lan, the system is legally obtained, and the system is his, and it is okay to say that his legal income is. Oh. Lan Lan scratched her hair, always feeling that something was wrong, but she couldn't remember it. Seeing the swing on the side, she immediately left everything behind her. Brother, come and help me swing. Great. Wang Yang responded, and something came to mind in his mind. System, what is my sister's wish? This can be regarded as being forced to spy on his sister's little secret. Wang Yang was extremely reluctant in his heart, but his ears were involuntarily pierced. If you want to fall in love, your elder brother, should he stop him, or beat the Mandarin ducks? Anyway, for a while, he couldn't accept the fact that his cabbage was going to be eaten away by pigs. Host, Tenant Wang Lanlan's wish is to find a well-paid summer job to reduce the burden on the family. Wang Yang was stunned, watching the cheerful Lan Lan laugh on the swing, and sighed. Lan Lan has been very sensible since she was a child. Even if her aunt's family gave Wang Yang something delicious, she never complained. The 18-year-old girl in the season was supposed to be an exquisite little princess, but Lan Lan had never used cosmetics, and the only skincare product was Dabao. Wang Yang felt deeply that he owed a lot to his aunt's family, especially Lan Lan. Lan Lan, do you want to do summer work? Of course, Wang Yang couldn't bear his sister going out to do some windy work. What's more, Qing Cheng has a large number of summer jobs every summer, with few job opportunities, and it's all physical work. I came here to find a summer job. I thought, in 2 months, I can save enough for tuition and living expenses, so that my parents don't have to work so hard to work overtime. Lan Lan's tender face is full of pure and beautiful wishes. Although she is not familiar with world affairs, she is also ready to take on her own life. Well, Lan Lan, can you help your brother with things? You see, my yard is so big, it would be too wasteful for the 2 of us to live in. We 2 go out to find tenants, give you 5,000 yuan a month, find one has a commission of 2,000 yuan. Lan Lan's heart was moved by Wang Yang's alluring conditions. She said embarrassingly, Brother, I don't know anything. Besides, what's the matter of earning your money? Think about it, my yard has a very high rent, and I don't want to find some random people to come in. Of course I need your help, and I still have my own business. If I can't be too busy, you can help my brother. Right. Wang Yang smiled and said, he was obviously kind, but his tone was like a big bad wolf who abducted Little Red Riding Hood. Alas, it's hard to be a good brother. Okay then. Lan Lan responded, and she remembered one thing. Parents nagging her brother to get married is not a day or 2. With this opportunity, she can find a few suitable people and check it out personally. At this time, Lanlan was full of stories about the pretty tenants of the multi-gold landlord. Congratulations to the host for fulfilling the wish of tenant Wang Lanlan and getting a chance to win the Black Iron Grade lottery. Wang Yang doesn't care about this. His sister must help if she can help, but it's good to get a lucky draw in vain. Wang Yang coaxed Lanlan back to sleep, went back to the room by himself, washed his hands, and solemnly said every year, "All gods, Jade Emperor, Tathagata Buddha, God, these gods bless me to get good things." While talking, Wang Yang clicked the button for the draw. An image of a red sports car flashed out. Congratulations to the host for getting a Porsche 911 Carrera Cabriolet. Damn it! Wang Yang drooled and looked at the sports car on the light curtain. This is the ultimate dream of most men, and he realized it so easily. This sports car costs at least 1.6 million. Wang Yang took advantage of his good fortune and ordered the Black Iron level lottery. The icons of various colors on the light curtain turned and stopped suddenly. A grandmaster dexterously avoided a strong man and knocked the opponent to the ground with a punch. This is still a moving picture. Congratulations to the host for drawing the Mizong fist. A huge memory flooded into Wang Yang's mind. The pile was in the shape of a tiger, the handle was in the shape of a horse, the sleeves were in the shape of a chicken, and the sitting was in the shape of a snake. His body crackled and rattled. The original 1.78 meter 7 figure suddenly jumped 2 centimeters, and the body without any traces of exercise was inexplicably condensed with muscles and full of strength. Wang Yang lowered his head and watched the white and floury fat on his abdomen disappeared and turned into 8-pack abdominal muscles with sharp edges and corners. I like God-level system. Invincible starts with a courtyard house. Please collect it. God-level system. Invincible starts from a courtyard house, and the literature updates are the fastest. Wang Yang yelled and rushed to stop Du Nian. Regardless of the relationship between the two, this kind of rude treatment of a woman is obviously not a good thing for a man. Smelly dick, I advise you to keep your business off. Du Nian looked at Wang Yang coldly, looked up and down, and sneered. A poor man who doesn't take pictures of himself without peeing, dreaming of a hero to save the United States. Wang Yang ignored Du Nian's sarcasm, his hands wrapped up like a snake and pecked at his wrist. What? Du Nian let out a painful cry and released the hand that was holding Zhou Yuling, his wrist was already flushed. Zhou Linger got out of the predicament, hiding behind Wang Yang with a gleam of hope in his eyes. Du Nian rubbed his wrist, staring at Wang Yang with a fierce expression. No one in Qingcheng dared to do anything to me, wait for death, kid. He's a dark section in Taekwondo, run away. The light of hope in Zhou Linger's eyes disappeared. Wang Yang's thin body appeared weaker than the tall Du Nian. What's more, she knew that Du Nian's family background could not be dealt with by Wang Yang at all, and it would only cause fire to the upper body. Du Nian started the activity and rushed up in a big step. Wang Yang looked at Du Nian coldly. He had inherited Zhang Shihuo's pinnacle boxing technique, and Du Nian was full of flaws. He leaned forward, avoiding Du Nian's strong fist with the cold wind, bending his knees, and hitting the top of one of his knees below Du Nian. A painful voice sounded, and Du Nian knelt to the ground, clutching his crotch in pain. The cold sweat on his forehead was so cold that Wang Yang didn't work hard, otherwise he could now be promoted to the first after the establishment of Huaguo. Zhou Linger was stunned by the moment's action, and took Wang Yang's hand and ran. Lan Lan followed closely. Do you know who he is? Zhou Linger took Wang Yang and ran out of the mall, panting. Wang Yang didn't pant, he seemed to be all right. Who is he? It's my shit. Wang Yang said angrily that there is surveillance in the mall, so it is self-defense in any case. You. He is the eldest son of the Fuyang group. Do you think you can be kind to him if you beat him today? Zhou Linger said worriedly and eagerly, thinking that Wang Yang was not clear about it. Wang Yang was stunned. Isn't Fuyang Group the head office of the company he stayed with before? However, no matter how a cow can be a systematic cow, he doesn't think that Dunian would dare to ignore the law, as long as he doesn't use guns, his own stray punch is enough to deal with. Then do you know who I am? Wang Yang said with a smile. Zhou Ling'er stayed for a while. Wang Yang's calm aura made her a little dazed. Could it be that he is a tycoon who hides his identity? I'm the one who saved you just now. Don't think about how to repay you, but you are still asking me here. Wang Yang Bai gave Zhou Ling'er a look and walked away. He could see this kind of woman and couldn't touch it. Hey, sister, did you run away from home and have no place to live yet? Although Lan Lan was surprised by Wang Yang's feat just now, but the thick lines of her mind didn't make her think too much, instead she focused on Zhou Yuling. If such a good-looking girl let Wang Yang lead home, her parents would be very happy. Zhou Ling'er nodded blankly, guilt flashed in her heart, she was just afraid, but she didn't thank Wang Yang well. Then you can come to live in our house is so big, my brother is worried about finding tenants. Lan Lan's words awakened Zhou Ling'er. Yes, she wanted to follow Wang Yang. If Dunian retaliated against him, she would never forgive herself for the rest of her life. Hey, stop! Zhou Ling'er called to Wang Yang. Wang Yang paused, and walked again. Regardless of how beautiful Zhou Ling'er was, Miao Yuking was the only one in his heart. Diddy a red Porsche 911 flashed on, and Wang Yang walked over. Zhou Ling'er was stunned. He didn't expect to see Wang Yang, who was so miserable that he still had a sports car, but this was far worse than Dunian. Lan Lan, get in the car. Wang Yang glanced at Zhou Ling'er indifferently and called Lan Lan. Brother, this is the tenant I brought you. Be kind to them. Lan Lan stepped forward and said, holding Zhou Ling'er's arm. My brother saved Zhou Ling'er once, even if the two have a relationship foundation, if they live together again, sooner or later they will spark the spark of love. Lan Lan smiled brighter when she thought that she had done another great deed. Wang Yang's original indifferent face immediately softened, and he couldn't live with anyone, and he couldn't live with money, not to mention that as long as one pulled in, there was a chance to draw a lottery. If it were not too strict, he went straight to the street to pull people in and live in for free. If you change one a day, you can't get any good things. 50,000 a month, can you afford it? Wang Yang asked suspiciously. He heard Zhou Ling'er and Dunian quarrel before and knew that this woman had ran away from home. I pay for 1 year. The lean camel is bigger than a horse, and Zhou Ling'er still has more than 1 million pockets in the card. Wang Yang can't imagine how luxurious the life of a rich person is. But now he fully felt the feeling of smashing his face with money, he just wanted to yell. Please don't pity, lash me to your heart's content. Lanlan, you sit in the back and let your sister take the co-driver. You treat the tenants better. Wang Yang sold his sister decisively and asked Lan Lan to squeeze it in the back. Zhou Ling'er was overwhelmed by Wang Yang's smiling face, and he was obviously interested in a rent of 500,000 yuan for someone who didn't care about a tens of billions of big sons. Lan Lan curled her lips and laughed again. Hearing online said that the co-pilot was the position of the owner's wife, then Zhou Ling'er could be regarded as her own sister-in-law in a disguised way. In the mall, Dunian, who collapsed on the ground, finally recovered, gritted his teeth and shouted at the doglegs who came after hearing the news, I don't care what method you use. Find him for me, I want his family to ruin. There is also the cancellation of the cooperation with the Zhou group. Mad, isn't he a stinky bitch, pretending to be pure, I want the Zhou family to send that Zhou Ling'er to my bed. The news that Dunian was beaten up in the shopping mall instantly spread throughout Qingcheng, and everyone who was qualified to know the news was asking where the sacred daring son of Fuyang group was. The black and white people in Qingcheng are looking for Wang Yang to please Fuyang group. At this time, Wang Yang was humming a small tune, pulling the two girls back to the courtyard. When I went out for a round, not only did I save an individual, but also brought in a tenant by the way. The rent doubled a year to 1 million, but Wang Yang was not happy. I like God-level system. Invincible starts with a courtyard house. Please collect it. God-level system. Invincible starts from a courtyard house, and the literature updates are the fastest. Wang Yang took the two girls back to Xiaoao Hutong, and Zhou Linger looked more and more wrong. Don't tell me, your house is here, right? Zhou Linger asked incredulously. Wang Yang didn't speak. He knew Zhou Linger wouldn't believe it for a while, so he drove into the garage directly. Zhou Linger got out of the car, followed Wang Yang into the courtyard, her eyes widened, and looked at everything around her. This is the few hutongs left in Qingcheng. As a native of Qingcheng, she clearly remembers that she came here to play when she was a child. It used to be a prince's mansion, but now it is actually Wang Yang's home. How about it, sister? I didn't lie to you. Lan Lan said triumphantly, with a sly light flashing in her eyes. Calling sister now is to call sister-in-law in the future, not to mention that my brother's conditions are really good. Zhou Linger glanced at Wang Yang. The cheap clothes and temperament were completely different from this courtyard house, and the car was only a Porsche worth more than 1 million. How could it be possible to own this kind of property? Countless speculations flashed through Zhou Linger's heart, but she overturned any speculation. The innermost room belongs to mine. You are not allowed to enter there. You can pick the others at will. Oh, there is a room for my sister in the second yard. Wang Yang confessed, then took out the rental contract and handed it to Zhou Linger. Although the system certification does not require a contract, it is required in reality to avoid disagreements later. Zhou Linger roughly scanned the contract, signed her own name, and passed the 1-year rent to Wang Yang. Wang Yang's surface was extremely calm, but in fact his heart had already jumped for joy. Good deed, rich lady, watching 1 million enter the account. Wang Yang has greatly improved Zhou Linger's senses. This is the hen who lays the golden eggs. Hey, that's okay, you can choose the room, if you need to call me anytime. Wang Yang looked at Yu Yu with a smile, and the cordial voice of the system rang in his ears. Congratulations to the host for successfully renting one room and getting a lucky draw opportunity. Wang Yang looked at Zhou Linger's gaze more kindly. He could make money and draw a lottery. Every tenant was his treasure. Zhou Linger felt Wang Yang's fiery gaze, shrank her neck, and began to wonder if it was right for him to trust him so much. Moreover, the rent of 500,000 made him so excited, which was completely inconsistent with Zhou Linger's guess about Wang Yang's true identity. But the matter was over, and she had nothing to do. Zhou Linger hesitated for a while, but when she saw Wang Yang was about to turn around and leave, she called him. Wait. Wang Yang turned his head suspiciously and looked at Zhou Linger, who was entangled. I have a small request, I don't know if it should be said or not. Zhou Linger asked carefully. Then it should not be said. Wang Yang answered her straightforwardly. Just kidding, I got the rent and lottery chance, and the oil and water on my body was almost squeezed by myself. After helping once before, I got into a rich second generation. If I help again this time, there may be any trouble. When Wang Yang turned around, he was ready to escape, and Zhou Linger's voice came from behind him. Stop! I want you to be my boyfriend. After Zhou Linger shouted these two calls, the entire yard was silent. Lan Lan stared at the two men blankly. She was clearly on the scene, why did she seem to have skipped something? This is too fast, is your brother so attractive? Hello sister-in-law. Although Lan Lan was stunned, her little brain still moved very fast at the critical moment, and she yelled crisply, making Zhou Linger's cheeks blush. Wang Yang was even more shocked. The two have known each other for less than a long time, right? Is it so hasty? I'm afraid it's not greedy for his own body. A handsome man like him with 8-pack abs is rare in the world. Sorry, you are a good person. Wang Yang sighed and said, trying not to hurt Zhou Linger so much. After all, he just gave himself 1 million rent and a chance to draw a lottery. He couldn't do such a thing as ruthless. Zhou Ling'er, who had received a good person card inexplicably, went crazy, and the brain circuits of the two brothers and sisters were exactly the same. I want you to pretend to be my boyfriend and help me deal with my parents and Dunian. Zhou Ling'er explained. When Lan Lan heard these words, she bowed her head in disappointment. Fortunately, she was so excited just now, thinking that she had solved her brother's relationship problem. Wang Yang shook his head quickly. Although he was not ruthless, he still couldn't let her go whoring for nothing. He didn't like Zhou Ling'er's character, but he knew that Zhou Ling'er's appearance was indeed extraordinary, not much different from his own goddess Miao Yuking. With your toes, you can guess how much trouble it will be if you pretend to be her boyfriend. Besides, pretending to be her boyfriend doesn't get any advantage, just a spare tire. I'll give you money, 500,000. Zhou Ling'er felt that he had found out a little bit of Wang Yang's preferences. He was so excited when he saw the rent of 500,000 yuan, he must be very interested in money. Wang Yang still shook his head. He likes money, yes, but he who owns the system will not be short of money in the future. Of course, if Zhou Ling'er shot 5 million and hit him on the face, he said otherwise. Wang Yang looked at Zhou Ling'er's eager eyes, his heart moved, and he said silently in his mind. System, what is Zhou Ling'er's wish? Host, Tenant Zhou Ling'er's wish is to find a pretending boyfriend to deal with her parents and Dunian for her. That's right, Wang Yang suddenly realized that if there were other wishes, he really couldn't accept Zhou Ling'er's request. Well, it's not a question of money, it's mainly because I am a kind-hearted person and willing to help. Wang Yang smiled awkwardly. After all, he refused decisively with his front foot, and slapped himself in the face so quickly. So, did you agree? Zhou Ling'er's originally gloomy eyes burst into light again. Reluctantly, let's say it first, just pretend to be a boyfriend, don't want to do anything else. Wang Yang looked at Zhou Ling'er warily, and the boy must protect himself when he goes out. Zhou Ling'er rolled his eyes, too lazy to pay attention to Wang Yang. After all, people can be regarded as helping herself, and she doesn't care about these side matters. Oh, yes, here is a rental contract, you can sign it again. Wang Yang took out another contract and handed it over. Didn't I just sign it? Zhou Ling'er looked at the renewal contract in her hand and said in surprise. You just promised me the 500,000 yuan. You can't count it. Wang Yang said. If Zhou Ling'er really didn't give it, he would have no choice but to complete the tenant's wish and get the chance to win the lottery. The last time Mizongkan helped him a lot, otherwise he would have been beaten into the hospital by Dunian. The Taekwondo black section is not just for fun, let alone the two are not the same heavyweight. I like God-level system, Invincible starts with a courtyard house. Please collect it, God-level system, Invincible starts from a courtyard house, and the literature updates are the fastest. Humph, I promised you, I will definitely do it, I hope you can do it too. Zhou Ling'er signed the name swishly, and another 500,000 was transferred to Wang Yang's account. Congratulations to the host for fulfilling the wish of the tenant Zhou Ling'er and winning a black iron level lucky draw. Wang Yang watched as 500,000 turned into 1 million. With just such a single Zhou Ling'er, he made 2 million and got a chance to draw a lottery at the black iron grade. He laughed heartily. Don't worry, I'm absolutely reliable. Wang Yang patted his chest when he said that he didn't believe it. Lan Lan was surrounded by the clouds and missed by the two, and only remembered one thing, her brother was Zhou Ling'er's boyfriend. Sister, should I change my name to your sister-in-law now? Lan Lan said joyfully. Zhou Ling'er's face flushed, and she waved her hand. She couldn't explain to Lan Lan, she said, it's up to you. Sister-in-law, I will show you a room. Lan Lan naturally understood that Zhou Ling'er had agreed, and took Zhou Ling'er's hand and turned around in the courtyard. This yard belongs to Wang Yang, and Zhou Ling'er is Wang Yang's girlfriend. In Lan Lan's simple mind, this yard is also Zhou Linger's home. My silly sister, Wang Yang looked at Lan Lanla as Zhou Linger walked away, and helped her forward helplessly. Do you really want to take less shots of Lan Lan's head? A good girl is so stupid that she won't be able to marry in the future. Wang Yang sighed, but it didn't work, so he personally checked for his sister to save those little rascals deceiving his innocent silly sister. Wang Yang walked to his room. It was a big gain today. With 2 million funds and 2 lucky draw opportunities, he couldn't wait. Last time I drew a Porsche 911 and Mazong Punch. I don't know what I can draw this time. Wang Yang was more solemn this time, taking a bath and changing clothes, and by the way, he also lighted a piece of incense, and worshipped various gods. The finger was pressed against the light curtain, and the big wheel began to spin. All kinds of gorgeous sports cars and buildings flashed by, and gradually the speed was so fast that Wang Yang could no longer see clearly. Stop! Following Wang Yang's loud shout, the pointer stopped instantly, facing a red X10 area. Congratulations to the host for obtaining this rent X10. Gan. Wang Yang was stunned by the huge wealth of the sky, 10 times that, that's a full 20 million. Ding! Wang Yang watched the 18 million in money on the phone, and the series of zeros behind him had already numbed him. He didn't experience the happiness of the rich, and he already felt the loneliness and emptiness of the rich. With so much money, Wang Yang couldn't remember how to spend it. The daily interest is enough for him to eat a fried dough stick and throw a fried dough stick. Wang Yang chuckled sillily while holding his mobile phone. 20 million may be just pocket money for the rich second generation like Du Nian, but for the former Wang Yang, it was money that would never be made in a lifetime. According to the old rule, Wang Yang quickly clicked on the black iron lottery, taking advantage of his vigor. This time it was changed to a slot machine, and the icon on it turned, slowly stagnating. A black card stopped on it, and the surface of the card was filled with stars. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a black star card. God-level system, Invincible starts from a courtyard house, and the literature updates are the fastest. Sun Xiaogang was so shocked by Wang Yang that he couldn't speak, so he just sent a message and waited. Wang Yang didn't bother to reply to him anymore, the two were no longer on the same level, and he wanted to worry about the revenge of his boss's son. Wang Yang put the phone aside and fell asleep deeply. The next day, when Wang Yang got up, his sister had already gone out and left a small note. Brother, I'm going out to find a tenant. I can't be sorry for the salary you paid me. This girl, Wang Yang shook his head, and for a while, he really couldn't get her idea. However, I can see that my brother is so rich and still hasn't changed his original aspirations. Lan Lan's mind is really simple, at least he doesn't need to be a helping sister. Wang Yang looked at the breakfast on the dining table and smiled. It is indeed good to have a sister who hurts others. Before she left it, she didn't eat breakfast at all. Zhou Linger also came over to eat with sleepy eyes. Good morning. Okay. With rice stuffed in his mouth, Wang Yang grumbled in response, and looked up at Linger next week and was stunned. The sunlight passed through her butterfly-like eyelashes, her white skin exuded luster, her vermilion lips yawned, and her lazy appearance made Wang Yang's mind turbulent. What's happenin'? Zhou Linger felt Wang Yang's direct gaze and touched his face, wondering if there was something dirty on his face. No, nothing. Wang Yang stammered, and ate his food. I haven't found it yesterday, but when I take a closer look, Zhou Linger's charm is really big. Miao Yuking's quiet figure appeared in Wang Yang's mind, constantly fighting against the lazy Zhou Linger in his mind, and the two villains were fighting. In fact, Zhou Linger is also pretty good, pretending to be her boyfriend also has a great chance to become a positive person. Have you forgotten your Baiyueg Wang Miao Yuking? She will be back next month. You already belong to you. Don't empathize with you anymore. The two villains were fighting, and suddenly a little demon ran out. Children make choices, I want it all. Wang Yang shuddered suddenly, and threw away the bold thoughts in his heart. He was afraid that he was not thinking about eating ass. If such a beautiful beauty can soak up to one, she will burn her own incense. What do she want to hug and hug? Are you really okay? Zhou Linger looked at Wang Yang's strange expression suspiciously. It's okay, what are you doing today? Wang Yang had the feeling of being caught by the party concerned, and quickly smiled awkwardly. Oh, I asked my girlfriend to go shopping, my landlord, it doesn't matter if I bring people in. Zhou Linger fluttered with big eyes, saying that the landlord made Wang Yang's heart soar, and he waved his hand quickly. As long as it's not the kind of nonchalant person, you can eat first, I kind of left beforehand. Wang Yang took a few mouthfuls casually, and ran away as if to escape. Zhou Linger looked at the back of his escape, and laughed pouting, like a blooming flower. The charm of this girl is still quite big, I thought it was useless for this silly boy. At this time, Wang Yang didn't know that Zhou Linger had discovered his abnormality a long time ago. He was still glad that he had walked away early, otherwise he would not be able to hold down the gun if he stayed any longer. However, he said that it is true that he has something to deal with. The 3,000 yuan he said when he left his job has not been paid, and he even publicized that he was expelled. If it weren't for Sun Shaogang's mention last night, he would have forgotten these things. After all, every day he handles 10,000 yuan of funds, who still remembers the 3,000? Wang Yang got on his Porsche 911, looked at the empty garage, and didn't know when it would be full. As soon as I got out of the garage, I saw a hot woman standing at the gate of the courtyard, and Zhou Linger came out to follow her. Although the face is not visible, only one figure is enough for memorizing. Bai Zhen followed Zhou Linger's line of sight and saw a red Porsche 911 passing by. When have you been so good? Didn't you always like that kind of off-road? Also, don't tell me. This is the house you rented. It's too awesome. Zhou Linger watched Wang Yang drive far away before dragging Bai Zhen into the courtyard. 50,000 a month, how about it, okay? Zhou Linger said triumphantly. She originally only wanted to repay Wang Yang, but she didn't expect that she would even pick up a bargain. It's too rusty. This is the prince's mansion in Xiaoao Hutong. I think it's worth 500,000 yuan a month. Bai Zhen said in amazement, the most important thing is that people who can buy this courtyard house can't be short of money at all, and they don't even want to buy it, let alone rent it. Zhou Linger didn't say that the landlord who drove the Porsche 911 just now, she and Bai Zhen usually share everything, but this time, she just didn't want to talk about it without knowing why. Wang Yang hummed a little tune, stopped at the door of the former company, and walked in directly. The lady at the front desk just wanted to call Wang Yang to stay, and when she took a closer look, she recognized that this was the ruthless person who had made a big fuss in the company a few days ago. He quickly called up and said eagerly, "Manager Peng, Wang Yang is back again." Wang Yang entered the company, only to see Manager Peng and Li Yuan tentatively preparing to escape from here, and he directly grabbed the collars of the two of them. These two guys couldn't beat him before, not to mention that he now has the peak-level Wandering Fist. Wang Yang dragged the two of them into the office as if he was holding two chicken cubs. The whole company was silent, and no one dared to touch Wang Yang's brows. Why haven't my salary arrived yet? Wang Yang doesn't lack the 3,000, but his life creed is that he doesn't want it if it shouldn't be him, it should be his, and it must be taken back. That, it doesn't matter to us, it's all orders from above. Manager Peng said shiveringly, the cheek that he was slapped by Wang Yang last time is still a little bit painful now. Yet, Wang Yang, this is all communicated by the head office, and the debtor has the owner. Li Yuan said hurriedly, with a vicious look flashing in his eyes, and while Wang Yang was not paying attention, he secretly sent a text message. Wang Yang pondered, depending on the situation, these two counselors would definitely not dare to withhold their wages, after all, they still have their handle on hand. The lowest person who could hold them down was also above the deputy general level, and a person flashed in Wang Yang's mind. It's Du Nian. Among the people he had offended in the Fuyang group, apart from the 2 insults in front of him, he was the only one. It seems that this guy can find out quickly, so he can find out who he is. However, it is impossible to find out the information of his courtyard house at his level, otherwise he might come to him now. I like God level system. Invincible starts with a courtyard house. Please collect it. God level system. Invincible starts from a courtyard house, and the literature updates are the fastest.